Hello, everyone.
Hello there.
We have spoken about becoming older, and we've talked about becoming an elder, a wise person. And in those conversations, we touched on the wisdom of the body,
Mm.
um, which is another level of knowing, of wisdom, uh, of experience, all of that.
Mm. And something that we can really tap into that we often don't.
That's right.
Mm.
But in our own conversations about this, because believe it or not, our conversations carry on after the recordings. Uh, but in our conversations, we also talked about body wisdom, that's true, but a sense of knowing.
Mm.
Often we feel it in the body, but it's even on a different level than that.
Mm.
We know when we know. It's almost that.
Yeah, and we don't really know how we know.
And we don't know
Yeah.
how we know.
Mm.
And we pondered on that. Where does that come from? How can we trust that? How does that act as a guide in our lives? How do we tap into it? How did we lose it?
Yeah, or how did we lose touch with it?
Yes, so it's a
yeah.
lot of things. The question that I have is, would you describe it as instinct?
There's an element of instinct. And I think if we work with the two terms that sort of, they're not the same, but they also overlap, instinct and intuition,
Yes.
then I would say instinct is very bodily, very
Survival mode.
and very biological
Okay.
in terms of that we need to stay alive. That's our biggest, our body's biggest task is to keep us alive. So our instinct usually tells us that we're hungry, that we're cold, that we're tired, all of those things. So that's a very physical, definite, or we'll have a fright if something loud bangs somewhere. So that's very immediate, and we know what we're feeling. I think intuition lies on a slightly deeper level, or more of a gut brain function where because of experiences, because of the way you grew up, you have developed senses. You've developed a deeper sense that has very fine, you pick up very fine things that you don't even know that you're picking up.
Can you say, sorry to interrupt you, but can you say that intuition is almost a database that you've built up over years of experience?
Yes.
And then when you're in a new situation, you play this new situation off
Yeah. And it happens instantly. Yes.
against your database.
Yeah, I would say it's something like that. And it would be influenced by a lot of things that happened in your life. So you might have had a very difficult childhood. So some sense of intuition, and whether you can trust people, whether a situation is safe, will be very refined and even overly refined. If your ego is very damaged and you feel very insecure, you might be your intuition can be overly protective. It can be overly, so it might be a situation that would be safe to go into as an adult that would have been unsafe as a child, but your intuition has developed in your childhood, so that you will always be scared in a certain environment. So I think they are very strongly coupled with survival, with ego, with being safe, with managing in life, where this deeper knowing that we're talking about comes from a place where we're not actually sure how we know what we know. And I think it has to do with the this the Holy Spirit whispering, with a connection or a finer development of listening, of your intention to be present to God's action in your life, or to the divine presence in your life. And then there's this sense of something. And I'm thinking of when we decided to go to to enroll in the living school. And it was such an impossible mission.
Instinctively
And intuitively, you said,
say it's impossible.
no, we don't have the money, the timing was never right. But there was this deeper sense of knowing that this is what we should do. This is, and it's not something that necessarily only comes once. It keeps knocking. That has been my experience, is that it's something that keeps knocking. So it might surface, you'll become aware of this. It's a very strong feeling of this is what we should do. And then you say, no, it's impossible. No, not this year. No, this and that, and all the practical reasons. And you sort of let it go. And then it resurfaces at some stage, maybe a year later. So it can actually happen over quite a long period of time, that there's something that you know. And you actually don't exactly know where it's coming from.
Yeah. But you touched on the issue of the Holy Spirit. But it's interesting. I mean, it has such practical implications if we look at those 4 principles at the beginning of centering prayer, where it says you have this word that helps you to consent to God's presence and action within.
So it's a I would say that it's that intention of being also, I think, in touch with your body wisdom on a deep level, because it comes from somewhere inside of you. And I think we were saying in the Afrikaans version, how do you refine that? And I think for me personally, it's helped that I've had experiences where this proved to be absolutely worthwhile, doing the thing that seemed impossible. Also, I think as long as we think with our intuition and our instinct, and we see ourselves as the sole active partner, or that we are the ones that has to do this on our own, we have to, then we fall into those traps of this is impossible. If we surrender to this bigger knowing and the feeling that we are held somehow, that this comes from a place bigger than ourselves. It's definitely bigger than we are.
Yes.
So, and then to trust that this bigger ground of being will actually also be carrying us into this and through this,
or is inviting us.
And that is well put. Definitely inviting us.
So it's not so much we decide on something and this ground of being supports us. Often it is an interplay between the ground of being and ourselves.
Yes, definitely.
And
that dance, that
yes.
That's not so easily explained in words, but I think it can also, we're saying, inviting us. It's also sometimes telling us not to do something.
Yes.
I mean, you might get a very good proposition for a job or something, and all your instinct, your calculations,
And your friends.
your friends, everybody says this is just amazing, this is wonderful.
Congratulations.
And on that very deep level, you just know that it is not what you should do.
Yes. Yes. It's interesting. We have friends who told us about huge steps that they took without knowing why they took it.
Yes.
Within a situation where something quickly came up,
Yeah.
and before she knew it, she raised her hand and said, I'm willing to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It came from somewhere, and her body sort of responded to it without her actually consenting in a rational way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's being very much in touch with that and allowing that.
Yes.
Because we can say, you can say, what's happening, and pull your hand back. So, yeah, I think it's...
And what you briefly touched on is the matter of one gets to trust it because you look back on the track record.
Yes.
And you say, you know what? That big adventure that we had from our own devices, we wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
But look how it turned out. And it comes back to that quote by Robert Frost, who said, how many times must something happen to you before it occurs to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
To trust that process. And also to realize that there are many ways where we neglect that ability, where we fall back to such a degree on our ego and our safety measures,
and our fears prohibit it. Yeah, it really, and I think it helps. I think we've talked about it before to try it out with a smaller thing that you actually know, and to see,
or that announces itself.
That announces itself, and to say, okay, I don't think God minds being put to the test in that way, because I mean, it helps us to start trusting the process.
Yes. Yeah. So we realize while talking that we're only scratching the surface. This is such a wonderful, deep subject, but maybe you have your own stories of tapping into that deep knowing, and we would love to hear that. And thank you that we can have the luxury of thinking aloud with you and in front of you.
Yes.
It helps a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll talk again next week.
Keep well, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.